I think one of my biggest tips for anybody who wants to go backpacking is don't plan too much. A lot of people ask like, how do you know where to go? How do you know what to do? And I honestly, like, I plan, like, sometimes I'll just plan like which cities I want to visit, but I don't exactly plan, like, I'll have a rough estimate of how long I want to stay in each place, and depending on my timeline and stuff like that. But don't plan too much, because plans change when you're backpacking. Like, if you meet one friend that you absolutely love and you want to hang out with, and their route is completely different from yours, and you have the flexibility to change your route, like, you'll probably join them or they'll join you. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, plans change, and like, you get a lot of recommendations from people you meet. So if you meet somebody and they're like, oh yeah, you should go here because they have better hikes here instead of going there, and like it's not that good there, like you're gonna go there instead of the place that they said is not that good. So things change a lot when you're traveling. I like, sometimes I just literally figure out the next day where I'm going, because I literally, like, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm leaving tomorrow, but I don't know where I'm going tomorrow. It's gonna be either here, here, or here, and then like I'll ask around and kind of get people's feedback, and then figure out where I want to go. And then hostels also have a lot of recommendations too, and they also can tell you how to get place to place. A lot of people ask about safety. So when it comes to safety, I think you should always know what areas you should avoid in a certain country or a certain city. Talk to people who have been to those countries and say, hey, like, where do you think I should not go, or where's a safe place to stay? Like, you know, always be aware of your surroundings. Like, don't get too drunk where you're like to the point of blackout. Like, just, you can trust people, but only to a certain point. Like, you know what I mean? Like, especially like a lot of locals are super, super nice. Like 90% of them, like, they're friendly, they just want to have a good time. But there are people in the world everywhere. It's like, I feel more safe sometimes away than I do in like North America. But there are those people, like, once in a blue moon, who might try to do something. Always watch your drinks. Take your drinks wherever you go. Even if you're going to the bathroom, take them, or leave it. If you're with a friend, like, make sure you guys are like looking over each other, right? So there is a lot of safety, like, that you have to take care of. But research, I think, is the #1 thing of what areas you should go to and what areas you shouldn't. Before booking your hostels, I think you should also see what area the hostel is in, because on Hostel World, it's kind of like Airbnb, you can see what area it's in. Also, I think it's very important to be confident when you're traveling, especially when you're somewhere like you don't know, like if you're the only tourist, if you're the only like traveler in the area. Like, try and not look lost if you're looking for directions. If you're like, try and like I said, be confident in a way. Even if you're not feeling confident, act like it, or try and look like it at least, because then it will kind of show people that you know the area, that you know where you're going. I will say one thing about like safety wise, I think the worst thing that's gonna happen is losing your phone or getting it stolen. Getting robbed, that's probably the worst thing that's gonna happen. Honestly, I've been robbed twice. I have to think of that for a second. Twice, and those are actually like the beginning, like when I first started traveling. So I definitely learned my lesson. They weren't anything crazy, but it happens to people. It wasn't even my phone, it was just money. So like, it was okay, like, you know what I mean? It was a learned lesson. I definitely learned my lesson. Don't be on a beach at night. Rule #1, don't walk around at night by yourself. Even with people, it happens, like, you know what I mean? Yeah, just be aware of your surroundings, know where you're going. Don't be on your phone too much if you're in an area that looks a little bit sketchy. Also, another thing is, especially taking buses, sometimes if you take night buses, or if you take a bus all day and you arrive at night, say if you arrive in the middle of the night, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., some bus stations can be very sketchy. People do get robbed at bus stations as well. Like, sometimes you're just dropped in the middle of nowhere. Like, that's happened so many times where I'm like, where the heck am I right now? I have no idea where I am. It's midnight, like, no one's on the street. Like, so it does get scary, but as long as you're not by yourself. Sometimes if you are by yourself, Uber, like, a lot of countries have Uber. Very, very safe, very convenient, very cheap, like super, super cheap. Like I'm talking like $2 for a 30-minute ride. So rather be safe than sorry. Sometimes if you need to walk at night, just be careful. Like, you know, sometimes you can't help it. So yeah, just be careful. Don't let the bad ruin the good, because there's way more good than bad when you're backpacking. Way more. I haven't touched on female. As a female, again, like I would say watch your drinks. Obviously people want to have fun while they're traveling too. Just be careful who you're going around with. Local or not local, like, you know what I mean? Just be careful. Make sure somebody in your hostel knows where you're going. Maybe a friend you just met, like give them your number or share your location. That's a big thing I do, like even with my family here in Canada. Like I always share my locations. As a black woman, I actually feel quite safe, especially in like Central, South, like Latin America, I would say, because there is a lot of mixed people, and the diet, like, it's so diverse. Like in Brazil, everyone thought I was Brazilian. Nope. Panama, everyone thinks I'm from Panama. Nope. And so like I feel more comfortable when people like ask me those things, because then I'm like, okay, I look like I'm from here, so maybe somebody won't bother me because I'm from here. Whereas like let's say a white person who clearly looks like they're not from there are probably going to be targeted more than I am, let's say. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but I felt that way in Brazil, honestly. But then again, like there's a lot of catcalling, there's a lot of that stuff, but like that happens everywhere, so like I'm not like really bothered by that stuff. A lot of the times too, I will say there's a lot of uncomfortable moments. There's a lot of frustration, there's a lot of just being annoyed. A lot of that you don't see, but it's like very simple things, like being on a bus. Like I was stuck on a bus in Brazil that was literally 37 degrees on the bus with no air conditioning, and we were dying. Like it was like you're suffocating. So like very like things like that. What other things? Like being lost. For one question I get is like, how do you know what to do and where to go? So simple. Google. Literally Google. You Google how to get from Guatemala City to Antigua, which is another city in Guatemala. Google, it will tell you. Like there's blogs, like, you know what I mean? Like it's so easy. Like Google's your best friend. Like I feel like people think sometimes that like traveling and backpacking is like you need to know like da da da. Like no, just it's so easy. You just Google it. I always tell everybody it's the easiest thing. Just Google. If you don't know, ask people. If you're already in the country, just ask. It's not very hard. Activity wise, like where to go, like what islands to see and stuff like that, again, like I just really Google it. Like backpacking friendly places to go in South America, bang, Ecuador, Peru, Colombia, Brazil. And then you see places where it's like, don't go to like Venezuela. Another thing I do before going to a city is I go on Hostel World and see how many hostels like that city has. Like for example, if you're going to a really big city like let's say Rio de Janeiro, like that city is massive, so there's like tons and tons of hostels and there's a lot of travelers, so it's super easy. But then if you go like the outskirts of Brazil and like you're not sure like if there's a lot of hostels, like if I go and search on Hostel World if there's hostels and there's not a lot of hostels, like I've searched places where there's like 2 or 3 hostels and I'm like, okay, that doesn't seem like, and then the pictures are weird, I'm like, that doesn't seem like a very backpacking friendly place. So I'm like, okay, like let's not go to that city because it doesn't seem like there's a lot of travelers. I think a lot of people, when they think of hostels, they think of like dirty, ugly, like not run down like that. Some hostels, yes, depending on where you are, but I will say majority of the hostels I've stayed at are super, super nice. Some hostels are so, so beautiful. Like I've stayed in really, really nice hostels for like $10 a night. Like they're so nice. Nice rooftops, nice pools, like really nice like decorative whatever, interior designs, whatever. Like a lot of them are very nice. So they're not all bad. Like really, they're not all bad, which I love too. I love a nice pool at the hostel. Is it expensive? Again, the way you are traveling is what's going to make it expensive or not. Going places where my money goes a long way helps me travel for longer. So, and the way I'm traveling, if I'm cooking food every night and I have like meals ready for me, I'm cooking breakfast, I'm buying groceries, I'm going on local buses. If I'm going out to eat, I'm gonna be at a local restaurant. I'm not gonna be at no fancy restaurant. Sometimes, yes, that's okay. It's okay once in a while, but not all the time. I'm going to find the cheapest restaurant I can that serves me a whole meal for $2 or $4. Yes. So like those things, it adds up, especially when you're traveling long term. Like, you're trying to save your money to go to as many places as you can. So if you're just traveling and you're starting cheap, like, you're gonna go a long way. If you want to go Airbnb, spend $100, or hotels $200 a night over going to a hostel for $20 a night, that's your choice. But the less you spend, the longer you travel. Yeah, that's a good line. The less you spend, the longer you travel. But of course, you have to spend money sometimes, which is okay. Where do you stay? Simple hostels. If I'm going on a trip with a group of people, probably like my friends, I'm probably going to be in Airbnbs. Just depends on where you go. Like, for example, I went to Puerto Rico and like I didn't find it very backpacking friendly, and the hostels were quite expensive, so it kind of evened out on getting an Airbnb with my friends instead of staying in hostels. And there was a big group of us. Puerto Rico is the US, so they use USD. USD is more expensive. So again, that's another thing you need to look out for. What's the currency? Panama in general was US dollars, so it was a little bit more expensive than other countries. That's all I have. I hope this helped. I probably just rambled the whole time, but we'll see how this goes. And like, if you have any more questions, I feel like I covered most of the bases. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you want to go on your next trip, let me know where you want to go. And if you need any help, like, I'm always open. I love giving people travel advice, so please feel free to message me. Also, I've had people ask me like where to travel to, and they actually listened to me, which is crazy. And like, they literally went to the place I recommended, and like, that's so nice to see. Like, I had like 2 or 3 people, and like, yeah, go have fun. And I will literally tell you, I'll give you an itinerary if you want. Like, I'll do it, I don't care. Just as long as you have fun, because like, it's such an eye-opening experience, and like, it's really truly life-changing. Like, you really see like life through different set of lenses. So it's really cool, and you just learn so much about the world. You learn so much about yourself. You learn so much about other people. So yeah, it's really nice. Like, I really highly definitely recommend it. You make friends all over the world. Let me know in the comments where you want to travel to, and if you need my help, I'm always here. And I really hope this helped. Like, that was the main goal. I hope it just helps you figure out your next trip and learn how to travel. But yeah. Ciao, thanks for watching DTD, Dina's Travel Diaries. Bye!